My name is Odessa Summers. I'm the Senior Prison Medical Case Manager for Action Wellness's jail program, the Philadelphia Linkage program. A particular case of mine that I worked on during the pandemic, we'll call this particular client Levi. And he was a 34-year-old heterosexual African-American male. He was diagnosed in 2015 in the community health center. His comorbidities were Hep C, major depression, and anxiety. He had a history of non-adherence to all medications. In 2014, he was diagnosed with syphilis, and his lowest CD4 count was 128. So he has an AIDS diagnosis. Levi was arrested on October 20th, 2019, and while he was in custody at the Philadelphia Department of Prisons, he was linked to HIV medical care. While he was in custody, by March 2020, his CD4 count was 734 and his viral load was undetectable. So he was stabilized in terms of his health while he was incarcerated. He was released from jail on May 13, 2020. By May 18th, he contacted his case manager. But when he contacted his case manager, he was hospitalized with COVID, homeless, and in need for a place to quarantine. So by this time, case managers, we were heavily aware of all the resources for quarantine that the city provided. The other issue was he was completely out of Suboxone. So once that call came in on May 18th, the case manager and the care outreach worker began working on his case. They submitted his welfare application, and then they helped identify COVID quarantine services through the Office of Shelter Services. We also linked him to our pharmacy program so that he can continue to get his HIV medications and, more importantly, his COVID medications. And so by May 20th, the case manager was able to secure him a quarantine space through the Office of Supportive Housing. However, by May 29th, Levi had checked out. And we found that out because Levi wasn't answering his phone, so we were able to call staff within the quarantine site who actually informed us that he actually signed himself out. So we started outreach on Levi again. We re-engaged him on July 15, 2020 through email, and he was actually out of care during that time. However, he did have some income and did have a stable place to stay. So we linked him back to our pharmacy program so that he could continue his HIV medications at his new address. And then the care outreach worker was able to schedule a telemedicine appointment with his HIV provider. And so by August 19th, he was seen by his HIV provider. So this is just a quick snapshot of a case that we had during the quarantine pandemic, that because of our level of knowledge about community resources, we were able to quickly link him to COVID-related resources, HIV-related resources, and housing resources so that he could be safe and not infect others with COVID and have his immediate needs addressed. Thank you.